Do you believe in aliens?
What do you mean, aliens?
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. There have been a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things. It is this group of observations that we now are attempting to resolve.
There's always things like that going on. Flying saucers, and they've had other things, you know.
What's going on up there could be the most important event in history. You're talking about contact, physical contact and proof from another system, another planet, another intelligence.
I won't talk to you about what I know about it, but it's very interesting. But Roswell's a very interesting place with a lot of people that would like to know what's going on.
I mean, if there are super intelligent aliens out there, they're probably already observing us. That would seem quite likely, and we just are not smart enough to realize it.
Are there really great secrets that you know that you can't share with people?
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. And you never write about them?
No.
No, nothing?
No.
President Obama says that there is footage and records of objects in the skies, these unidentified aerial phenomenon, and he says we don't know exactly what they are.
I would ask him again.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
For the many who still choose not to believe in alien life visiting planet Earth from a faraway galaxy, you are already half correct about the topic, and you just did not know it. The idea that an alien civilization would travel millions of light years across space just to visit our little blue planet does seem rather suspicious. You would think that for all their trouble to travel millions of light years through space, they would arrive here with celebration and with open sharing of their technology and of our own. But that just does not seem to be the case, does it? It would seem our silent visitors prefer to catch us while we are not looking, or even better, while we are asleep. Are we really to believe that a superior race's favorite game is really hide-and-go-seek? Although it does seem a little more like capture the flag, that is, if we consider ourselves the flags. So why would a superior race with the capability to travel millions upon millions of miles across space just come to abduct and probe humans?
Are you an alien?
To you I am, yes.
Are you gonna probe us? Why does everyone always assume that? What am I doing? Am I harvesting farts? How much can I learn from an ass?
Well,
According to Michael from the Council of Time, these alien visitors may be coming from a spot just a touch closer to home. In fact, according to Michael, these extraterrestrial entities may just be living right below our very feet, and little green men, they are not.
Pass off the nose again. Right now it's at about 12:30 and it's passing out in front of the vehicle.
For Tally Ho, can you get a still imagery if you can, and any estimate on size or range?
Back in the 80s, the 70s and 80s, we'll say the 90s too, but mostly 70s and 80s, a phenomena was happening. And maybe some of you remember. Now it's going to sound funny when I first say it, but a long time ago in the 70s and 80s, you had all these people that were saying, you know, they got visited by some creatures, right? Some alien species or something like that, right? And in those, these meetings or these moments that people had in their lives, these other creatures began to communicate the same thing over and over. Do you guys know what that was? Do you remember what that was? In just about every single case, all these creatures were communicating that mankind was destroying the planet. That's what they were saying. This was a huge thing. Well, it was in the late 90s, 2000s. But it's almost like hardly nobody heard this at the beginning. And they just kept saying it. You guys are destroying the planet. You must save the planet, save the planet, save the planet. And then all of a sudden, the generation of kids grew up. They're about maybe 50 to 70 years old right now. They grew up, and in their minds, they wanted to save the planet. Now, some of this was overwhelming for children. Even that it was recorded to happen in Australia. Those children, they were visited, and all of them had the exact same thing. This happened in broad daylight. This had lots of witnesses, and this was in the daytime on school grounds, and something landed, and some creatures got out. Same thing happened in Russia. Same thing happened in the USA. Same thing happened in South America, right? All during this time, somebody was landing. No words were exchanged, but all the kids who were, I'd say about no older than 11 years old, every single last one of those children received a communication that we have to save the planet. We have to save the planet, right? That mankind is using too many resources and we're too messy, this, that, and the other. Well, that subconsciously got in the minds of more than a few. That's when the books began to come out. That's when these kids grew up, and they began to actively begin to protest the destruction of the earth by way of trash, fuel, things of that nature. And so look where we are now. It's a international discussion. It's picked up by most liberal thinkers out there, and they believe that we have to save the planet. And they have an excuse for that called global warming.
I come here today with a message. As president, I have a responsibility to act with urgency and resolve when our nation faces clear and present danger. And that's what climate change is about. It is literally, not figuratively, a clear and present danger.
But it began with encounters. In every single case, every single branch of this green movement goes back to the same cause. These folks had encounters with some sort of species in broad daylight, right? And they communicated on a mass scale. These kids that were visited, I believe it was around 200 or 300 students, every single last one of them received the same communication. Same thing happened in South America. Every single last student received the same communication. And it was a real shocker at the time because it was broad daylight, right? Teachers saw it, officials saw it, which is why they have 2 special facilities in Australia right now. Now, we all know what those things are, right? You guys should know what those things are. You should know by way of history, by way of Genesis 6. You should know exactly what they are. When it comes to life being out there in the other worlds, right? I'm going to ask you something. Why would anybody who's smarter than humanity ever want to come to this place? Why? For what reason? All they would see is a bunch of people who plot to kill each other, who plot to dominate one another, who can't agree on anything, right? Who will never really get together and do anything of magnitude because we go too many different directions all the time and everybody wants to be right. Who would come? I wouldn't come here. If I didn't live on Earth, there's no way I'd come to Earth. For what reason? For what reason? What do we offer? Nothing. That's what we offer, chaos. And plus, people forget, if you have some sort of space-bearing species, they're fine with their resources. They've gotten around. You can find water in space all day long. You don't need to come to Earth. These are ideas that people put in other folks' heads because they don't understand the nature of space itself. You don't need to come to Earth to get water. You don't need to come to Earth to get the minerals that we have on Earth. Right? You don't have to come here. You can go to a lot of other places. And if they're already out there, surely they have accomplished that, right? Here we are. Nobody would want to come here. So if any species does come here from a different world, they're idiots. That's just my opinion. They can't be too smart. They can't be. Coming all the way here to do what? To give somebody a message?
We greet you in peace and
Mr.
friendship.
Chambers, don't get on that ship.
rest of the book, to serve men, it's a cookbook.
That the trees are going to die? What? That makes no sense, right? It makes no sense because humanity does not have an ability to destroy the earth. They don't. They don't have that ability. This earth is governed. That should be clear to everybody now. Just like in our lives, we try to make many moves in our lives to advance ourselves. But for some unknown reason, we know what that reason is, we can't do everything we want to do. Something always happens. Well, what do you think that is? Those are real higher powers, right? That govern what we can and cannot do. They will only let us go so far. So all this ideology somehow that man is free to do anything he wants is false. We have limitations. We do. And anybody coming here, right, to whatever they're going to do is just weird. It makes no sense. It's not very smart. It's not very smart. You would have to love evil, love hatred, love all the things that mankind, they love themselves.
What the fuck is that? Have you got it on there? Yeah.
Right? You'd have to love that to come here. Not very smart. You'd have to be an idiot to come here from being out there. I'd rather live on the sun, right? I would. I'd rather live on the sun. So, that doesn't work. But all this green stuff goes back to these visitations. All of it does. Every single last bit of it does.
Human activity is the dominant cause of observed climate change over the past century.
And of course, in 2004, because some dates were given to mankind over time, and I know people want this to be some sort of I know they would just love for it to be scientific, love for all the scientists to stand outside, wait for the arrival of people from planet Lasagna, right? Well, no, because what's here has been here. They don't come from out there, right? They're bound here. Why would somebody, can you imagine that? Can you imagine us, we're saying, well, we're going to go and venture into space, and we're going to travel 50,000 light years, right? To go tell somebody, don't throw your trash in the streets, okay? And then we'll come back in 50,000 light years. That makes no sense. No sense whatsoever. That just doesn't make sense. You know what does make sense? Is that most, if not all, UFOs go right back into the oceans. Right back into volcanoes, right back into the earth. Have you noticed that? Which means they're not coming from out there. They're coming from here. That's where they're coming from, right? And if they're coming from inside the earth, then yes, they can see everything that we're doing. Maybe that's why the Bible said, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, right?
This has been The Confidential Report. For even more stories like this one, make sure to subscribe to our channel today. And please show your support by clicking the like button on this video. For even more stories and news you deserve to know the truth about, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching The Confidential Report.